live on YouTube. And again, to everybody out there, hello, hola, konnichiwa, salam, ciao, namaste. Peace to all. This is the Pink Elephant in the Room conversation. And we will be discussing creator logic. Now, this is a science I've been developing for quite some time, of the logic of what we think and what truly is logical in being who we are. If you feel this resonates with you, don't hesitate to leave hearts or likes. And if you feel in any way you have anything to add to the conversation, please do not hesitate. I'd love to hear your thoughts, no matter who you are. And without any further ado, let's begin. To us, we believe in a sense of a being that is all powerful, all supreme, and that we are lesser than this being. That is our thoughts. We believe that there's no way we could be higher than such a being, but yet the way we act it's as though at times that being, in a sense, could not be higher than us in some of our factors. It's quite interesting. For example, we believe we could never be higher than, we'll say, prime creator in a sense, because of the simple fact that we do not believe we can be all-knowing. We don't believe we can be all omnipresent. We don't believe we're psychics. We don't believe we can do many magnificent things beyond what society shows us. We don't believe that's possible due to what we've been taught for years. And the simple fact, on top of that, we've never been trained in that thought process to grow those things. Because if those things were trained, you would see, if we flip-flopped it and put the shoe on the other end, you would be flabbergasted of the simple fact of us as humans believing in the simple fact that, why would anyone think that being nothing is in or something? We would be kind of flabbergasted by that, not believing in the simple fact that we have those capabilities. On the other end, the way we act towards each other, the way we harm each other, the way we do things, we believe in a sense that we are all powerful, we are these magnificent beings, and we separate ourselves, believing ourselves to be, I'm this, I'm that, I have the power, or I have the will to kill you because of what I desire and stuff. And this shows in a sense of how high you think you are in comparison to what we would call creator or energy or whatever you like to call it. But the truth is, logically speaking, that this is an experience for one, and that you, one way or another, are connected to that prime creator. The question would be, how am I connected to this infinite being that's out there in the universe? It's not out there in the universe. It's the universe itself and more, because of the simple fact that you are the universe. Inside your body is stardust. This stardust is out literally in the universe. But on top of that, the fun part of this is, what's in you, you can find in a tree. What's in a tree, you can find in the moon. And what's in the moon, you can find again in the universe. That is amazing, because what it shows, and this is just logical observation, the connection of everything around you is you. But Just that doesn't make sense, because physically I'm not the moon, I'm not the stars or anything. You see, all those things were made from the mechanics, the materials, the minerals of everything around it to ignite, everything around it to be as rock solid as it is, everything around it to create the cosmos as they are. And you are a combination of that, made like this, organically created in your own being. Now, this is just the physical part of who you are, in a sense of giving you the science and the logic that you are one way or another. You're still, logically speaking, creator logic wise, you are creator, prime creator. You are a part of that. Even if you didn't understand it from that degree, let's break it down even further. You are a part of all that is out there. Everything that is everything. Being that you are made of stardust, of course, you are just one part. Not only are you one part, you are one sentient part of this universe. And I'm not saying an individual factor of just you alone. Don't get me wrong, I'm telling you out there. But I'm saying for the whole human race, for the whole other species of animals and other beings out there. You are connected to this. Now, that is one part of the logic. The other part of the logic is the spiritual side, the energy. Now, what I tell people is simply this. Take a light and put your hand below the light. And you're going to see your shadow. Now, what your shadow can show is a lining. And if you're really good at this, and I'll explain the other part of this, but for now we'll just use something simple and simplistic. When you put your hand under that lighting, you will see a line around the shadow of your hand, and what that is your soul. Now, what I didn't explain in my last video about the marijuana experience was one of the things I saw was clearly, and I'm going to go into detail about this in a minute. I just wanted to get past this for understanding, is the simple fact that some people, if you're really good, you can see what you call aura around your hand. This is technically, or more so, your soul. The reason why I say technically is because the simple fact that though this is your soul is so expanded, it's literally ridiculous. Now, during my experience with them, with the edible, I've already seen my aura. I've seen plenty of people's auras. However, I didn't see it to this degree. Of what I was seeing as I was looking at it was not only the vibrations, but it was literally expanding and flowing like an ocean, flowing as though it was connected to a stream going out into the ocean. Now, this is what you consider to be auras. However, this is your soul. And you are really good at actually seeing your soul, or auras as you'd like to call them. I mean, if you want to call them that. It's simply by staring closely at the hand or closely at someone. I would suggest if you stare at someone, you stare, I'd say, at the top area of their head right here. And as you go on, you slowly see a ring around the body. That ring around the body is the soul itself. And for many people, they may say they see a different color. I've seen people with white auras. I've seen people with indigo auras. I've seen people with orange auras. I've seen people with plenty of different auras. Black, white, blue. I've seen many of them. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I've seen these auras. And what these auras are about is the simple fact that we believe that the body is holding the soul together, when in truth be told, it is the opposite. And this is why I use the Goldfish Effect to explain how is that possible. You see, and for my new viewers out here, simply the Goldfish Effect is, in a sense, that your soul is the bag with the water in it. The fish is the body, and the brain, of course, is inside the fish. This is holding everything together. If you cut open the bag itself, the fish will eventually die. And the soul, just like water, will dissipate and go elsewhere. Now, this doesn't mean that it'll disappear. Just like water, water does not disappear. What happens to water even after it dries up is it turns into a gas, H2O. And most of that, I'm not saying all of it because of the chemicals within it, but most of it becomes now oxygen, because water is partially oxygen to begin with. So it evaporates and turns into gas. It goes up in the air, or it gives nutrition to wherever it's planted, in a sense. It goes up into the air. It still goes. Just like your soul, it still goes, one way or another. So we go into a different fold right here of who you are. We're going into the simple fact of what many people would call reanimation or resurrection, or, as I would just simply say, creating a new life of who you are. One way or another, whatever happens to you now, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because you give purpose to whatever you desire. But after you're done with whatever happens, you do not die. There is nowhere you go to unless you desire to go to, because, and we'll get into that part in just a sec. That's a really good part. I love that part. But one way or another, you will live on. Just like the water for the goldfish effect. Once it's cracked open, or once you cut it open, the water doesn't disappear. It disappears when you see it with your own eyes. That is very true. But it doesn't disappear. Simply what happens is the water goes from a liquid to a gas. Kind of like you, but not quite. Not quite at all. Once you, in essence, die, or as you believe to be dying, because truth is you don't die. You, how to put it, the body dies, but you cannot die. It's literally impossible because you aren't this body. The body is like a vehicle, just like a car or airplane or any other vehicle you use it. You are not the vehicle itself. You are just using it as a tool of who you are, or where you're deciding to go, or what you're deciding to do. You use this to experience who you are. Once the body dies, being that this is a liquid and it's gone now, it goes elsewhere and decides what it desires to do. Now, here's the tricky part of desiring what to do. You see, we have many people who believe in heaven and hell. We have many people who don't care for any of those things. We have many people who believe that nothing will happen. And that is all true. However, it is all true due to the experience of what you desire to create in experiencing. If you are terrified of hell and you think because of where you've been or whatever's happening you will burn in an everlasting fire, that is not true. Hell does not exist, but you can create the experience of that, and that is what happens. And heaven doesn't exist in the same way, but you can create the experience of it. Nothing exists. You can create the experience of that as well. It is more of a choice of the mind of what you create, and when you are gone from the body, you create this much rapidly. You see, earlier in my last video, I explained that you are a filter. You're filtering all this, one way or another. So one of the reasons, for example, why, if we talk about, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. I mean, why do some people know how to manifest things easily and then others don't? But you're telling me that through the soul, it's instantaneous. The reason is, again, It is a filter through your body. And even in my own experience, when I was trying to grow things in my life, when I was trying to get to where I desired to go, even as I keep going now, I have to remember to tell myself the simple fact that I must first understand of who I'm being, and that I still need to keep going, because I'm filtering all this one way or another to grow, to manifest. Now, for some people, it's true. It is instantaneous. If you know who you are, sometimes it is simply through the other ends of what we see in today's society by doing what you need to do. But there is a small other end that can do it easily, and that is by being who you are. Now, many people will tell you, probably heard this a few times, to act like this or that, or if you want to be this or that. I wouldn't say quite act, but I would say if you see yourself as wealth, then portray yourself as that by being that. Put that energy within you. How would you act if you walk? How would you talk? How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you do things? If you were healthy, again, how would you walk? How would you talk? How would you eat? What would you do? What would be your thought process? If you were a genius, and we all are, by the way, how would you act? How would you talk? How would you walk? How would you do things? How would you do what you desire to do? That is the process of what should come to mind when you are creating and manifesting things. However, there are many other methods you can manifest things, such as through out-of-body experiences, because sometimes you can get knowledge from different areas. Like, many might know, many might not know the Akashic, I believe, the Akashic records. Forgive me if I butchered that. Many people can find it through what we call spirit guides. Many people, I believe personally, because due to my experience, can find it through memories of who the self is, through many beings of who you've been, and meditating on that to simply have a chat with the self, as we would call this the higher self. And what I would say is having a chat with the highest version of who you are and who you're being. And hold on just a sec, we're gonna do a part 2 to all this, because we're not done yet.